Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. I just woke up, and time to wake up Raj. I wish I had a cooler intro, but I can't think of a cooler thing to say. So that's what we're gonna say every time, I think. Hello. Yep. I'm even a few minutes late.
Good morning.
Morning.
Happy whatever this day is, Thursday.
Happy Thursday. I guess it's happy. I don't know. I just woke up myself. Right now I feel tired.
Right.
I cannot see you yet. Your camera is not on.
Camera's not on? Alrighty. Why is my camera not here? Alright. We're there.
Hoping you're here.
Happy Thursday, February 16th.
Of course, for me, it's not loading. Camera.
See me.
So annoying. Technical diff. Oh, there we go.
Better?
God. Your internet is
Happy.
unwell. That's better, I guess. Messy-haired Raj. Oh no, still. I don't know. I guess the internet is not happy today.
Well, we'll turn to the camera? I don't know.
No, this is an internet problem.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
You want
You are. I don't know how I am to you, but on my screen, the only time I can see you is if you don't move at all. When you start moving, it's just pixels.
Your internet's crappy?
I
Do I
don't
just
know,
can't?
I don't know what to blame. I just know you're
Right.
moving in slow motion, which makes me think internet. It could be CPU problems, but I hope your CPU is not that bad that you can't just run a webcam.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to have technical difficulties today, so I wasn't ready.
I knew this was bound to happen. This is why we can't do it live, is what I should say, because you can't do a live show where you wake up somebody like 5 minutes before you actually have to film.
Is everything ready? You just need me to move again.
Yeah, I need you to be taller, and and then you're ready. I guess we're ready.
I'm not going to get taller. This thing will stop turning on its own. Right. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah? Today on Before Coffee, we have Syrians feel abandoned after the earthquake because no help came and now it's too late.
In the USA, in the wild, wild west, another shooting in El Paso, Texas.
When it comes to helping the Netherlands drop its nitrogen levels, there's nothing they can do about the purchase of it for airports.
Raquel Welch has died at 82.
In media news... Oh, actually, I don't know. In media news... I think there's no new media news, actually. It's all the same stuff from yesterday. Then more front page news.
Hit the refresh button.
Dozens of Russian missiles are fired, and Norwegian oil is sent to Ukraine.
In USA, the Ohio trail derailment has taken on a life of its own as people demanding answers after train derailment that was already almost 2 weeks ago now and is finally beginning to become like a news story with legs.
All right. You sound good.
All right.
Here I have to do the transition while I can't talk to you. I'm just thinking about the transition.
Read the first story.
First story. In the Syrian city of Idlib, residents feel abandoned. In Turkey, rescue teams from dozens of countries search for survivors under the rubble, while the opposite area in northwestern Syria had less people helping evacuate people by hand. From the White Helmet Volunteers. A citizen remarked, "I am still in shock and cannot comprehend what happened to us. I helped the white helmets pull people out of the rubble, but we didn't have the resources to evacuate the collapsed buildings. No one came to help, and now it's too late. There's only corpses left." The White Helmets suspended rescue efforts yesterday and declared a week of mourning. Relief supplies from the United Nations gradually crossed the only border crossing, but it contained no medicines or tools for digging. Dozens of bodies of killed Syrian refugees did not return from Turkey to be buried in the native country either. The opposition area is home to many people who have had to flee war violence several times. This includes Nasrallah, who fled Idlib 6 years ago for bombing a suburb of the capital Damascus. People who could not go aboard were left behind. After 12 years of war, the country is in a patchwork of areas under the control of armed groups or the regime. Yesterday, a United Nations convoy with relief supplies entered the opposition area after receiving permission from President Assad to help earthquake victims. Aid arrived from the government in the last week, including the neighboring Arab countries. The regime does not provide humanitarian aid to its political opponents, and Assad has repeatedly used this tactic of sealing off its people from the outside world.
American news. 1 killed, 3 wounded in shooting in El Paso, Texas. Adding to dozens of people already killed this year in the mass shootings across the United States. And according to AP, El Paso police said hours after gunfire that 2 people had been taken into custody, though details of what led to the shooting remain unclear. Interim police chief, El Paso, Peter, that Cielo Vista Mall was still considered a crime scene that would remain locked down until authorities had completed their investigation. There's no more danger, I want to repeat that, there's no more danger to the public, as she has said, and absolutely unironic. The shooting happened in a busy shopping area across the large parking lot from the Walmart where 23 people were killed. Attack targeting Hispanic people in El Paso, 1920. Of course, you were born in El Paso. It's your hometown.
I don't really remember El Paso much, but it's really sad to hear that another shooting has happened in America.
Yeah,
I'm pretty numb to the events that happened.
It's I was alerted to it by the Congresswoman, Facebook. Before it was even a story, I got a message. Book, thought everybody went to shelter. Over to the local high school. So I had to go online, look it up, and go, oh, Yeah, we're shooting at Cielo Vista Mall, which is not the mall we went to. It's in the center of El Paso, but I know where it is. Right by it. Anyway, more death and destruction.
Yeah, just either it's good stuff or bad stuff in the news, and most of the time it's bad stuff. Speaking of bad stuff,
a bunch of planes landed safely yesterday.
Yeah, speaking of airports, the province of Gelderland does not want to help Schiphol and Lelystad Airport attain a nitrogen permit. The airports say they have bought up enough farms, but need the provinces to use the nitrogen space that has been released as a result. However, according to lawyers with whom the NOS spoke, provinces can do little about this. There is no nitrogen permit for nitrogen emissions from aircraft taking off and landing at Schiphol. Lelystad Airport, which is part of Schiphol, is still not in use due to lack of such permit. Schiphol announced last month that it had bought 12 farms in North Holland, South Holland, Utrecht, and Gelderland. The airports would have paid tens of millions of euros for this. According to Schiphol, 6 farms in North Holland, 3 in South, and 1 in Utrecht are enough to get the necessary permit after years of illegal flying. According to the airport, Lelystad Airport could open through a purchase of 3 livestock farms in Gelderland. So the idea here is that in order to offset nitrogen emissions, you have to go buy a farm, right? So that that farm is no longer producing the same amount of nitrogen emissions you will be emitting, right? That's the idea. By forcing people to purchase the thing that also contributes, they're lessening the contribution. The province prefers to use the released nitrogen space for other things, instead of selling to the airport, like housing. Famously, the Netherlands has quite a housing problem, especially in North Holland and South Holland. And the House of Representatives is also very unhappy about this purchase by Schiphol. Now it is still kind of a Wild West situation. Whoever has the most money can do whatever he wants. Provinces do not have such deep pockets and are also bound by European rules. But until then, the ministry is looking into legislation to get a better grip on the nitrogen trading. But until then, Schiphol is simply within its rights to purchase as many farms as it wants. And lawyers say, although the provinces are responsible for specifically selling their farms, that doesn't mean they can refuse it. With, like we said earlier, tens of millions of euros are being offered for these farms. Why wouldn't you just take it? Oh, I cannot hear you now. You did something in your audio. Okay.
Anyone?
Yeah,
now?
You need to put your mouth in the mic.
I really have to be up here, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, my news story. Raquel Welch, actress and 60s sex symbols, he is dead at 82. Hollywood news. Raquel Welch, a voluptuous movie actress who became the 1960s first major American sexist symbol, maintained that image for half a century. So business has died on Wednesday at age 2 in Los Angeles. Mrs. Welch's Hollywood success began as much as with a poster for the movie 1 Million Years BC acting. In fact, her poster, if you know the movie Shawshank Redemption, was the very last poster that Andy Dufresne used to cover his escape hole.
Ah, yes. I remember this.
Raquel Welch, who I fondly remember. 3 Musketeers, again, she was not known as a great actress. She was known for being beautiful. So, you cannot actually identify offhand, other than she was a really good look. But she stayed really good. That's her most famous. It really.
That does make me curious about if because she was beautiful, she just wasn't given any roles to act as well. But,
it's possible. I mean, she was given roles, but myself, I'm not a movie critic, so I can't really comment how well her roles go. Probably not that well.
All right.
I remember about 4 or 5 of her movies in the West.
Well, that's sad to hear. Such a long-running actress dying. But, I mean, everyone has their time. Speaking of dying,
it's a passage.
Back to the war in Ukraine, which left the headlines for a while because of the earthquake crisis in Syria and Turkey. But that's old news. So back to the older news. Norway has now donated billions of oil revenue to Kiev in Ukraine. The $1 billion donation from Norway will be coming over many payments over the years. Norwegian Parliament has approved a 5-year aid package that will be delivered to Zelensky, and Zelensky thanked for the donation. Only the left-wing Red Party voted against this donation because part of the money is intended for weapons. The aid is spread evenly over 5 years and consists of military and humanitarian aid. According to Prime Minister Store, the oil revenue aid should have no impact on the economy. Norway earned a lot from energy exports because of the war, and because countries started looking for an alternative due to the loss of oil and gas from Russia. So, Russia pulls all their gas support because of their war with Ukraine, or people stop purchasing Russian oil and gas because of the war with Ukraine. There's an energy crisis in Europe. So what do? They go to Norway, they go to Scotland, they start buying money from them, and then Norway takes all of that revenue that they made in the past 3 years. Well, not 3 years. I think it's only been 1 year. But it's only been 1 year. But they probably were making a lot before. They take all of it and they go, here you go, Ukraine. Use this for something. So that's a pretty happy story. At 9:44 this morning, dozens of missiles are fired at Ukraine from Russia. About 36 missiles and 16 of them were shot down by anti-aircraft. One of the projectiles landed in an eastern city of Pavlorad, according to the governor. 1 person died and several people were injured. The governor of Lviv region in the west says a fire broke out after a rocket hit a critical infrastructure facility without giving any details. Your turn.
It's my final story. People are still upset. Residents of Ohio Village, upended by a freight train derailment, packed a school gym to seek answers about whether they were safe from toxic chemicals that spilled or were burned up. Hundreds of people gathered Wednesday in East Palestine, near the Pennsylvania state line. You hear state officials insist yet again that testing shows that local air is safe to breathe so far, and promise that air and water might continue. But again, we're all outraged. We are the outraged people. You're going to find we have Jewish space lasers and we have spoons landing. Everybody wants answers. How many train derailments are there in America every day? Probably 300.
Yes.
Roughly. And this is one that has that. Brings attention to the matter, but the people in Ohio and the people across the country are starting to be stupid about it. There's one political party in this country, I won't say which, that is trying to blame a train derailment on cultural issues.
I'd like to blame massacres on cultural issues.
Because a bearing and a wheel goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that story is more, we want answers. We want them now. We don't even care if they're the right answers. We want answers so we can call you liars. That's kind of the way people are now. They just want to and point fingers and not wait for information. I think information is readily available in a huge rail catastrophe where the stuff is still on the ground, still being cleaned up. The cleanup crews have to go about it. Don't hurt themselves and get sick. So answers are not easily readily available, but people.
All right. Well, speaking of people getting angry at their government, a massacre in rural Australia occurred in December that left 6 people dead. And now, it turns out the reason for that massacre was because of a Christian terror attack. The officers were ambushed on site. The 3 residents had dug camouflage foxholes, erected barriers, and installed surveillance cameras and mirrors to watch unwanted visitors. And they also amassed a large arsenal of weapons. 2 officers, aged 26 and 29, were shot dead. A 50-year-old neighbor who wanted help also died. After hours of siege, the 3 perpetrators were shot dead. The police investigation showed that the 3 were radicalized after Nathaniel had a heart attack in 2021 and came to believe the return of Christ would be preceded by a time of trials. The 3's hatred of the government was sparked when they lost their jobs for refusing the COVID vaccine. People do not believe anyone else was involved in the attacks, but did find out that the 3 were communicating with like-minded people in the U.S. and that information has been turned over to the authorities there. So there might be a sect of evangelicals in the U.S. who believe Christ is returning and that you need to kill people, amass a bunch of weapons, because everyone knows Jesus loved assault rifles.
Yeah.
His favorite weapon was the AR.
Yeah. I believe that was part of the Beatitude. Blessed are the makers of large capacity magazines. I think that was one.
What's any news of the day? Any on this day in history?
Well, on this day in history, if we want to go there, yeah, we can do that. But I wanted to cover another we're outraged about nothing story.
Okay.
Remember Buffalo Bills football player, safety DeMar Hamlin, who basically died on the field a couple of months ago?
Yes, they gave him, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they had to kill him off, format and everything. The game ended up played. Now people are outraged at him. Okay, the guy everybody's praying for, people are outraged at him. What are they outraged? Because of something he wore. So the Walking Dead guy who was dead, who would be going through his funeral, right? If it wasn't for medical people saving his life, and, one person would have dropped the ball in that play, it would have been death. Now we have a group of people that decided that his jacket. So there's a bunch of losers in this country. That's basically it.
Yeah, it's really tough to be a loser and not have anyone to blame. So you have to create somebody to blame, right?
Yeah, as soon as his life was saved, there's a group of people that decided, oh wait, he's black. We better get mad because he wears a jacket with words on it.
Yeah.
Right? America, we need to get rid of it. They need to be put on a bus, sent to play bingo somewhere.
Sent on a bus.
Train.
Speaking of manipulating people with emotions, in smaller tech news, Israel is discovered to be using a company that uses thousands of fake accounts to manipulate elections. 3 journalists posed as people interested in joining the company, only to discover that this ghost company, which is not officially registered anywhere, posed as advertisers for businessmen, and they wanted to manipulate the elections of the country. company's owner, Tal Hanan, who calls himself Jorge, told reporters that his organization has tried to influence 33 presidential elections, 27 of which were successful. The researchers were unable to verify whether this claim was correct, and if so, what exactly the success entailed. According to them, it is certain that Hanan's company secretly interfered with the presidential elections in Nigeria in 2015, together with the discredited American data company Cambridge Analytica.
Yes. No, them. Cambridge Analytica. They got the famous PK.
Yeah. Tal Jorge Hanan's flagship product is software that allows his company to create more than 30,000 fake profiles on social media. The program allows him to create an online identity in just a few clicks, including photo, name, date of birth, email address, and sometimes even a phone number, credit card, or Airbnb account. The fake accounts are active on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, Instagram, and among others. One of the fake Twitter profiles with the username Kanalen, the Israel company used the photo of a Dutchman, Tom van Rooyen. The Twitter bot Kanel posts messages from BBC, among others. His timeline also includes tweets about Taylor Swift and the price of a Kit Kat. According to The Guardian, Kanalen was mainly part of the campaign to discredit the British privacy watchdog ICO. In one of his tweets, the fake account speaks negatively about the organization, just like any other bot from Hanan's company. It's unclear who the client was and what they wanted to achieve with this campaign. So, you can't trust anybody because they're probably a bot. I've already experienced this myself streaming on Twitch.
Yes.
Somebody will enter my chat saying, "Wow, this is so interesting, follow me." And then it usually goes two different ways. It goes, "Hey, can you follow me back?" Or, why don't you have any emotes? And then they start giving me a whole solicitation about, "I can help you make emotes. Please give me money so I can design stuff for you." And I'm like, I can design that stuff myself. I know exactly how you're doing it because you're a bot who's just using like an AI program to design stuff. I can just use that. Why would I pay somebody for it?
That's Facebook too. Facebook. Post something. Can I be your friend? I like the way you talk and smile, and I don't know. Facebook. You just pull up.
Well, what's in your day in news?
Oh, in this day in history, Fidel Castro seizes power in Cuba, 1959. Not a whole lot of stuff happening. That's great. History. I can see either anybody would.
Only
DuPont
Cuba.
Chemist Wallace Hume Carruthers patented nylon, 1837. So that really thin material to keep your legs in. And on this day in 1959, John McEnroe.
Nice.
The tennis player. Also Kim Jong-il, father. Yes. 1941. One of your original Korean victims.
One of the
The North Korean victim.
I wish I'd
in 2011.
I wish I had something more fun to talk about on the news, but it looks like there's
the weather.
nothing. Yeah, the weather. Looks like there's nothing funny that happened today. That's just.
No, it's just a typical Thursday. We can write a song about it.
It's a typical Thursday.
Yeah, wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here it go. My guitar's across the room.
Your guitar is across the room. Well, I guess if there's no more news, we can. This has been Allison from the Netherlands with Before Coffee, sharing all the news on Europe and other places that have to do with Europe.
This is Roger leaving you with a song. Wishing there was more better news, but you know, news is almost never good, but we'll try to find it.
Yeah, it's never predictable, but that's how we like it. Hope to see you tomorrow for some more Friday news. See you later.
Safe out there.
Okay.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.